Okay, this is going to be Accounting 1. We're working on Chapter 6, Lesson 4. And this lesson is all about finding and correcting errors on the worksheet. So some of the types of errors that you might find. You might find that you skipped to post something whenever you were posting from the journal to the ledger. You might find that you posted it incorrectly, either to the wrong account or you posted the number wrong. Maybe you made an incorrect adjustment. Maybe you added your columns incorrectly, or you could have had an error in expanding to the income statement or the balance sheet columns. Whatever the error is, you must find it and you must correct it before you continue, because this is our last chance really to look for those errors and fix it, because now we're going to work on our financial statements that we're going to present to the owner or to the board or whatever, and so these have to be correct. So finding some typical calculation errors. There are 4 different steps to help you if you have an error. The first one is your difference 1. For example, you're off a penny, you're off 10 cents, you're off $1, you're off $10, you're off $100. If that's the case, you have probably added wrong. Okay, the second way, can the difference be divided evenly by 2? For example, if your difference between your debit and credit column was $48, $48 can be divided by 2, and that equals 24. So look for your answer, in this case 24, in the trial balance column. It could have been recorded in the wrong column. So if you recorded it as a debit instead of a credit, it's going to be off by half the amount. If it's not in the trial balance, look in your ledgers, look in your journals, but the key is you're looking for the number 24, or whatever your difference was divided by 2 without any remainders. Okay, the third error you might come across. If your difference can be divided by 9 evenly, so 45 divided by 9 is 5, there's no remainder, look for a transposed number. A transposed number is a number that's written backwards, basically. So you wanted to write 19, but you wrote 91. You wanted to write 56, but you wrote 65. Okay, that's a transposed number. If you don't find a transposed number, look for a slide. A slide is a number in which you slid the decimal point. So you wanted to write 12, but maybe you wrote 120, or maybe you wrote $1.20. You wanted to write 100, but maybe you wrote 10, or maybe you wrote 1,000. And so if it's divided by 9 evenly, look for a transposed number or a slide. And finally, if the difference is an omitted amount, look for that amount. And so if you're off $50, look and see if there's any transactions that involve $50. Look on your worksheet if you can't find it there. Look in your ledgers if you can't find it there. Look in your journals, but you're looking for the number 50. So here are 4 good clues to help you if you're trying to find where your error is. So some ways you can check for your errors. Checking for the errors in your worksheet, look in your trial balance. Okay? You can follow along with this in your book on page 168. So in your trial balance, if all the ledger account balance has been copied into the trial balance column correctly, that's where a lot of errors are happening. Number 2, have all the general ledger account balances been recorded correctly in the trial balance? Okay. The second one is your adjustment columns. Do the debits equal the credits for each adjustment? Remember whenever I said you're using that small letter A in parentheses? So do your A's match? Do your B's match? Is the amount for each adjustment correct? Did you calculate the correct adjustment, basically? And finally, check your income statement and your balance sheet columns. Has the amount been copied correctly when extended to those columns? So from your trial balance, if your trial balance had a $90 debit, did you record a $90 debit? Or did you record a $900 debit? Or did you record a $90 credit? Or did you record $45, just something random? So make sure that you have recorded it correctly. Make sure you went straight across. Your book recommends using a ruler to make sure that you don't get off on the lines. Number 2, has each account balance been extended to the correct income statement or balance sheet columns? So Did you take it straight across? Did you get off a line? Is it in the right spot? Number 3, has the net income or net loss been calculated correctly? That's what we did yesterday. Number 4, has the net income or net loss been recorded in the correct income statement or balance sheet columns? Remember, I said that if you have a net income, it's going to be in the income statement debit and balance sheet credit or on the outside. And if you have a net loss, it's going to be in the income statement credit or the balance sheet debit or the inside. So make sure that you've got those recorded in the correct spot. So if you find an error, you have to correct it immediately. So for this example, okay, we had correcting an error and posting to the wrong account. So if you posted it to the wrong account, what should you do? We accidentally posted prepaid insurance. We posted to prepaid insurance instead of supplies. So we should have made, on the 12th, this should have been posted to supplies, but we posted it to prepaid insurance. So what we need to do is, once we have found that error, it's pretty simple to fix. We're going to put it where it should have went in the first place. We talked about that a few chapters ago. So we recorded the 12th under supplies. And then in the wrong place, just draw a line through it. Now you should be able to read through your line, so don't scribble it out. Just make a single line. But that's all you have to do to correct posting to the wrong account. Now, how do we do a correcting error? How do we correcting an incorrect amount on an amount posted to the wrong ledger? Okay, so on this one, the reason why we're so concerned about how to correct the error is because you should not be erasing in any permanent records. If you erase in a permanent record, that could raise questions about whether important financial information has been altered. Okay, so you should never erase. And so in this case, let me grab the other pen. Let's say that we had September the 8th. It was post references 1. We had recorded a $700 debit here, which made a $700 debit here. And the 17th, page 1, we had a $27 debit, which made this a $673 debit balance. Oh, sorry. Look, I already messed up. So we recorded it as a credit, which is why we subtracted here. Okay, but that's not what we wanted to do. We wanted that to be a debit. So let's say we've made a couple mistakes here. So this should not have been $700. It should have only been $70. So to correct that, I draw a single line through it, and I just write $70 above it. Then I have to fix my balance. So that balance is no longer $700. It is $70. Here, this should not have been a credit. It should have been a debit. So I just draw a line through it, and I come over here and I write my $27. Which makes my balance not $673, but makes it $97. Okay? So when you're correcting in your ledgers, you should always draw a line, a single line, and then write the correct number above it. Okay, so that is the end of the section. There is no vocabulary. There is some audit your understanding questions. What was the first step in checking for arithmetic errors when two column totals are not in balance? Okay, that's going to, you can look in your book to find those answers. What is one way to check for an error caused by a transposed number? That was that list I made you. If we have a transposed number, how do I know it might be a transposed number? And number 3, what term is used to describe an error that occurs when numbers are moved to the right or left of an amount column? That's where I had written, maybe I wanted to write 100, but I accidentally wrote 10. What was that called? Okay, so in class, we're going to be doing the work together and the on your own and the application problem. This is the end of the chapter. So then tomorrow After we do this one, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the mastery, and you are ready for your test.